Sorry. I'm not really that greasy. Like, I'm not. This camera on this laptop, only in Facebook group do I look this bad. I swear, I don't ever look this bad on any other thing I record. Okay. Today we're going to talk about that time I yelled at a patient. When I worked at the pharmacy, and the relevance is going to come in. When I worked at the pharmacy, there was an old guy that came in. He was bigger than me, though. He wasn't like some little old decrepit, thing on a cane. He was with it. But anyway, he came in, and he had a pill bottle from a different pharmacy, and he had taken our label and slapped it on that other pharmacy's pill bottle, which you're not supposed to do. And it was his information, like we verified it was him or whatever, but he was switching labels, and you just don't do that. And so we got this bottle, and he handed it to us, and he demanded that we refill it. And because we didn't know what was previously in that bottle, like the residue from the other pharmacy's pills that they had put in there was in there, and we could clearly see the other pharmacy's label underneath ours on that bottle. Like, you could see right through it. And we were like, this is so-and-so's bottle with so-and-so's residue in it. We can't put other pills in here when we don't know what it was, or we can't prove what was in there, and it's a liability thing. We're not going to do it. And he got real pissed off at us, and he thought that, this was 100 years ago, where if he just got loud enough that because it was all women working in there, he figured if he just got loud enough that we would all just kind of hang our heads and do as he said. And that's not how it works. In medical, you have laws and you have rules and things like that, inconveniencies like that, and we just simply couldn't do it. And the thing is, we kept telling him no. And I wasn't right up to him at that point. I was at the opposite end of the pharmacy, sort of, like several feet away from him, a few yards away. And he was talking to the pharmacist, and he started yelling at her, like actually yelling, like raising his voice yelling. I will say that since I've been back in Pell City, the people here think that yelling means getting a bad attitude with somebody, but so they confuse me when they tell me stuff, so-and-so was yelling, because I never hear the yelling, so it's different for me, because to me, yelling is when someone raises their voice. And I grew up with hearing people raise their voices, so I know what it is. But this guy started the textbook definition yelling, okay, the actual meaning of it, yelling, to the pharmacist. And I started getting pissed off. But what happened was, in that moment, I started to relive. I was right back in probably 1999, 2000, 2001. I was right back. And right back yelling with Dad. And in my mind. And as soon as I heard his voice get louder and he started the yelling, I dropped whatever I was doing. I didn't see or hear anything outside of him. And I just went straight to him. I walked around the desk, I just went straight up to him. And I got right up to him like this. My face was like a foot from his, okay? And the only thing between us was that goofy Mr. Ed door, like the half door. Like a pickup high window, So I got right up to him, to where my face was right in his. He was bigger than me, but only like a couple inches taller than me, but, whatever. That didn't matter at this point. I didn't care. Because I was right back at home. Right back. And I got up in his face, and I yelled back. And I said, I don't think you understand. You think just because you're a man and you can get in here and yell at everybody that we're just going to hang our heads and cry a tear and do as you say. That's not how it works in here. We have rules in here and we have laws in here. We cannot fill your goddamn bottle because we don't know what the fuck used to be in it. There's residue in it from some other place and we can't prove what it is. So no, we can't fill it. It's a liability issue. Period. That's what she said. That's what it is. We have rules here. That's it. I mean, that was about all I said, but that was like the most powerful 30 seconds of my life in a long time, you know, when it came to something like that, because I was finally yelling back at a man. Finally did it. Finally did it. The opportunity arose, and I was like, oh, let me stop what I'm doing, okay? And I just jumped on it. I really did. But the point of the story. Oh, no, hang on. So I yelled, and then, I mean, really, I did. I yelled, and then he goes, and his eyes, I swear to God, were the size of softballs. Like, his eyes were huge, just big glass blue eyes. And, and you could tell, and then after that, he cowered and walked away. And with the empty bottle. But you could tell that no one's ever told him to shut the fuck up. You know, somebody's been cleaning up after him for the past 40 years, and she's never told him to shut the fuck up. So, God love her, whoever she is, but, you know what I'm saying, like, but that's what happened. And he was like, and he left. And that was it. And we didn't hear from him after that, so... I can't remember his name, but I remember his face, and I swear to God, if I ever see him again, I'll know him right away. But the point of the story is, this is why I take somatic healing so seriously, and yes, I have to do it on myself, because I need it too. Because the issue is, your nervous system holds on to memories that you really don't need, okay? You really don't need them. You don't need them haunting you. You don't need them terrorizing you. You don't need them interrupting you. You don't need those memories holding you back. You know, all that kind of stuff. You just don't need it. It's over with. The lesson is learned. The mission is complete. Blah, 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 fucking blah. You know, it's time to let it go. And you can let it go from your mind all you want, but you have to let it go from your fibers. We are mostly water, and for you to be made so much of water, and water holding memory and holding vibration like it does, like the way you would mold clay into a certain shape, water is going to hold that vibration for as long as God knows what, until it gets programmed with something else. So your body is hanging on to all those leftover memories that are hurting you and holding you back and terrorizing you and giving you bad dreams and stuff like that. You're hanging on to all that stuff. So the moral of the story is, so that you don't yell back at somebody thinking it's 1998 again, like I did that day, you have to cleanse it, and you have to do that however, and I still work on that. Like, I have to work on that with myself, so I don't say shit and then not do it for myself. I do, because I know I have to, but just that particular day, I just couldn't help myself. So, but anyway, my point is, you can choose, and there's a million different ways to do this. I'm probably going to release like a big video on the somatic stuff and like more techniques that I do, because it's so important to know this stuff. But it's ways that you work with your body to soothe it and nurture it and calm it down and calm your body, and in that way you can cleanse these old memories out of your fibers. And once it's out of your fibers, it's gone for good. And the reason this is important for women especially is because we find a lot of power in being centered and being grounded in our body, and especially in the womb space, because that is the creative portal. That's the portal to the world. But you know, it's your creative point inside your body. I mean, obviously. So there's a lot to be said for resetting your vagus nerve and things like that, and cleansing that stuff out of your waters in your body. So we're going to go over that a little bit later. I need to make some notes so I can like organize my thoughts on that, because it's real detailed, but we'll do some of that. Because I have my clients do that stuff, and it's cleansing shit out of your body that you didn't know your fibers were still hanging on to is one of the best things ever, because you never realize if you're not in touch with your body, you never realize the tight spots, the spots that hurt and why, and spots that get tight when you think about certain things. Like I used to tell stories, about old boyfriends, and I'd start to breathe fast. My heart would beat fast. I'd get really uptight, and I would get so wound up just telling stories. And that was my nervous system reliving those moments over and over again, because that's what it does. It'll relive that damn moment as long as you make it. And that's why you start freaking out and having flashbacks and things like that, But for women especially, if you can come back into your body and reclaim your body for yourself, and let your body live for you, and you and your body like come together as one, and you release all that other shit you don't need, your life will change in so many ways. You'll have so much more power in your life because you're in touch with your temple, and that's important. So I just want to tell that story, so because I was thinking about it, and it was a really good example of reliving the past and reliving stuff that's still hanging out in your nervous system. So we'll go over some more details with this later, but I just want to tell that story because I think it's funny now looking back, but really it's it was obviously something I still needed to work on at that time. But anyway, I'll leave it at that. I'll put some notes together for the somatic healing stuff, and I'll get to that, if not later today, by the weekend. So that's it for now. I'm gonna leave you with that, and I'll see you on the other side. Thanks.